Hi there, and welcome to my review of the Final Fantasy XIII-2 Play Arts Kai figure of Lightning, the main protagonist from the Final Fantasy XIII game on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Now, as you can see, this figure has actually come out a little bit prior to the Western release of Final Fantasy XIII-2, which comes out at the end of January in Europe and on February the 2nd in Australia, my home country. As you can see here, the box is quite pink. It actually also features a gold, somewhat inscripted writing here with the Play Arts Kai and action figure there. So it's the front of the box, so we've got the side of the box there, not very interesting. And the back of the box here is some various poses and also the information regarding the producers of said figure. Now, this front bit actually does open up to reveal when the Play Arts is actually in there, you would have seen her. And it's also got that feather, those feathers there on the front, somewhat reminiscent of the trailers that we have seen of the game. And also just a bit of information here regarding the game, where it takes place and all that jazz, and we've got the logo up there as well. And so with that, I will bring in the figure Play Art herself, Lightning. Now, the thing is with this figure, the first main and somewhat disappointing thing to note is that she actually doesn't come with a display stand at all, which is quite unusual for the Play Arts. So, unless you happen to have a spare one lying around, there's really no way to display some quite dynamic forms. Now, if you'll excuse me for a moment while I put this down, you will be able to see her skirt at the moment. I don't mean to do that. Now, all of it is still fairly articulate. The feather skirt itself doesn't actually have any movability like Lightning's cape from the Final Fantasy XIII Play Arts, but everything still moves quite nicely. Obviously, you can see that there's still the double joint in the knees there, and that's also very similar to the originals. So you can get quite a lot of motion there, and as you can see, she's almost got her foot up her rear end there, and the foot itself moves slightly as well. The detail on the armour itself is very extravagant, it's very well done. And both legs, they come all the way out as well, so she can end up doing the splits more or less. Not that you really need to be putting her into many different positions. So yeah, as you can see, the feather cape here is in two separate bits. And yes, so it's obviously from behind. Put her into that motion there. It looks somewhat reminiscent of the opening when she is flying down on the rocks while she was battling Kai's Ballad. As you can see, there's still, yes, as I said, there's quite a lot of detail in the armor itself, if the camera actually decides to focus on it. So yes, we've got the front there, we've got the, excuse me for a moment, we've got the Etro, the goddess emblem there. It's just the gold awnings on the leather pieces there, gold trim. The shoes themselves are actually quite articulate as well. There's quite a lot of moulding detail there. And with the wings themselves too, you can see there's a lot of detail there. And there's also some shading there as well to add to it. We've got the hip pieces here, and they also have quite a lot of moulding there for detail with the bolts and such. There's these shoulder pieces, which is actually two pieces put together. And then we've got the forearm guards and the gloves themselves. Now with this one, the hair is actually somewhat different. It actually is more pearlescent than the other. It's actually somewhat darker as well. So I mean, it's molded quite nicely, but it just doesn't look quite as good, I don't think, as the Final Fantasy XIII play arts of Lightning. The face isn't molded all that badly, really. It's still got quite a lot of detail there in the eyes, as you can see, and on the lips, and obviously the eyebrows. It just doesn't look quite as effeminate as it did with the other one, or quite as sharp. We've got more detail in the forearm guards here, and a lot of articulation there. The ball joints in the elbows are actually not as loose as they have been in other play arts. They're actually clicks. We've got the shoulder joint here, which is on a ball joint as well, but it actually also comes forward slightly. As you can see, there's a whole separate bit there for that bit more articulation. And overall, you can see, I mean, it's still quite large as well in comparison to the Lightning play arts. I know I'm making a lot of comparisons here, but it's somewhat necessary in this case. They're still approximately the same size, and I mean, overall it seems like the 13 one is actually, it is a little bit bigger overall as well, but still features very similar joints and all that. Now, as for the extras that Lightning came with, we have here her shield with that emblem that also appears on Sarah's dress. Features just on the back a clasp there that comes onto her forearm guard here. If you excuse me for a moment while I put this on. It goes on quite simply. It stays on actually quite well as well. And also features a ball joint there so you can move it all around. And here we also have her gunblade come sword as well, so it's actually got a lot of detail there. As you can see, a lot of pieces there, little gold adornments on that guard there, and also the handle itself. And she also comes with 2 extra hands, which are just simply closed hands. So in this case they're really not that necessary for that extra bit of detail. Now, the sword itself really does not actually fit into her hand that well at all. It goes in alright, but it doesn't stay in really at all. And ever since I opened this up and tried it for myself, I really wasn't that impressed in comparison to, once again, the Final Fantasy XIII Lightning play arts, which actually had a hole in the gun blade so you could fit, as you can see there is just the slightest hole there, and also a peg on the hand itself, so it stayed in there really quite well, which was actually it was quite revolutionary for these figures to keep them in really well. As you can see, it's staying in well there no matter what I do, so it was somewhat disappointing just to see that this didn't continue with that. So yeah, as you can see, it's really not even staying in that well now. It looks great while it's on there, but see, just with a little bit of shaking it falls right off, so that's really not that impressive. As for overall, the articulation is still very good, as I said before. The ball joints seem a little bit too loose at times, though I noticed from about here, when putting the gunblade in, it would fall a bit to about there. But aside from that, it still seemed rather good. And obviously, like I said, the lack of a display stand just means less detailed positions that you can put her in. So, I mean, overall, I would still rank this figure very highly, but that would mainly be due to how detailed everything on it is. Otherwise, I'm really not all that impressed with it in comparison to other play arts and play arts Kai figures, which have seen other innovations in them that's really worked quite a lot better than this. So with that, I'd probably rank this about 7 out of 10. So as I said, if you happen to have extra display stands around, I would say utilise them, because there's definitely a lot of elegant poses they can put this gorgeous Valkyrie-like lightning into. So with that, I will say adieu and wish you all a good day, and thank you for watching this review.